Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome. It is time for Naturally Inspired Radio. So glad you are joining me today. Gorgeous day, fall day here in northern Colorado. We got a lot of stuff done on the farm this weekend, which was really good. I can formally announce that my chickens are back in the run. They are on lockdown because they are ruining. They are ruining my deck. They are ruining. When they are running free here, it gets a little bit crazy. That's for sure. So now they are back. They are back in the run, and I'm so grateful for that. So we got all that taken care of this weekend here on the homestead, and looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here. So hopefully we can get those worked out. I had a little bit of feedback on my in my earphones here. So hopefully we can get that worked out pretty quickly. But anyway, I welcome you to Naturally Inspired. I've got a great show for you today. I'm talking about, I want to talk about something maybe that you saw over the weekend, because I saw it over the weekend and I thought, whoa, I don't even know. I can't even believe that this was said out loud. I can't even believe it was said out loud. And you may be thinking, this is a health show. This is a health show, and you talk about, big pharma, and we talk about getting healthy, and we talk about all that stuff. But we also talk about culture. And the reason why I talk about culture is because that is where health begins. You cannot have a healthy population with a toxic culture. And we have been living in a toxic culture, everybody. Toxic food, toxic practices, over-consumerism, a broken medical model, the emphasis on the wrong things, emphasis on money, 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 success, more, less on family, less on morality, less on values. These things have kind of all gone by the wayside. And what the result of this toxic culture that we're living in is a very unhealthy nation. 76% of people, I keep repeating that because I don't think people are taking that as seriously as they should. 76% of our population is walking around with chronic disease. That didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen idiopathically. No, there are very key reasons as to how people got this chronically ill. And so we have to talk about culture because one of our efforts should be to restore culture in our country. We got to restore culture here. We got to get back to American values. We got to get back to what we want our country to look like. And I don't know if everybody knows what they want the country to look like. I don't think we're in agreement on that. And so there's a process that we have to go through to kind of get back to the values that we can all agree on. As I always say on the show, we need a foundation of things that we can all agree on in order for our society to work. Basic things, right? I always use the example of traffic because if suddenly tomorrow everybody decided, we're not going to abide by the traffic rules anymore. Green doesn't mean go, red doesn't mean stop, yellow doesn't mean merge or yield. We're making up our own rules now. Now you can drive however you want, right? What happens? Chaos. Chaos, people get hurt, accidents, there are deaths. We got problems, right? And I think we were headed that way before COVID. We were definitely losing values and morality. And of course, this has been happening for decades now, but it was accelerated during COVID. I don't think anybody would deny that, right? We were not ready as a nation. We didn't have our values, our principles, our morality set in a foundation. So we weren't able to withstand the storm of COVID culturally, because it was a storm. We were, and we are still. I feel like I know we are. We're still under attack. It's like it's accelerating. It's not getting better in terms of cultural chaos. It's actually getting worse. And so we have to start having these conversations. How do we restore the foundation? Who lives here? Why do we live here? What do we believe in? What are we going to build the foundation of our country on? We got to start having these. Yes, we have administration in that's trying to shape culture and stuff, but ultimately it is the people that shape culture, because you're either going to do it, practice it, or you're not. And if you're not practicing it, if you're not engaged in your culture, then you're not shaping culture in your own country, right? If you're sitting back and you're scared to talk, you don't know, I just want to forget this. I just want to be able to travel. I don't really care. This is too much for me. I got to tap out. If you're doing that, then you are not participating in shaping culture in your country. And then guess what? Other people are. Other people are participating in shaping the culture of your country. And so you're going to get stuck with what they shape it as. That's just the way it is. And so we got to have some serious discussions because I feel, maybe you feel like this as well. I feel like some of us are just getting the squeeze here. You know, we're in the middle. We're like trying to figure out what's going on this side, what's going on that side. We don't even understand it. And of course, I'm talking about this holy war that seems to be getting pressed upon us. A war that, is so complex and so spiritual, and it goes back, a very long time, centuries. And here we are now, and we're kind of thrown in the mix of it. And it's like most of us don't even understand it. You have to have a background in academia even to understand it. But I do know I do know that most of us know what we don't want, right? We know what we don't want. But do we know what we want? Because you don't get what you want without declaring what you want and acting in taking actions to get what you want. You don't just sit back and hope, I hope everything works out, right? Like, I hope. No, you got to take action. You got to take action. And I'm not talking about, fighting in the streets or protesting or any of that stuff. I'm just saying, live your life the way you want other people to live their lives. Be a model for your culture. Because I think we're in trouble here. And it was pretty clear to me over the weekend. I want to share with you from the Israeli Republican Coalition Conference. Maybe you saw this. But man, I had to share it with you today because, like I said, I feel like I'm getting the squeeze here. I'm in the middle here and I'm getting the squeeze, and I'm not even sure why this is happening. So take a listen to this. This is Lindsey Graham.
He recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Why? Because if you got a problem with that, take it up with God. He's the guy that did it, not Trump. So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs. We didn't run out of bombs in World War II. So, as a coalition of Republicans, some Baptist, some Jewish, we organize ourselves around principles that we love and we cherish. We love individual freedom. We love entrepreneurship. We love capitalism. We love Israel. We love the idea of Israel. We love the struggle they've been involved in. We love them, helping them because you're helping yourself. So to those who worry about these stupid interviews and far off places, don't worry. The Republican Party has figured it out when it comes to Israel. We understand that Israel is a friend of America to the bitter end. We understand that God blesses those who bless Israel. And where I come from, I figured that crap out when I was 6 years old. God bless you. Thank you very much.
I mean, I'm just a regular person here. I see this stuff and it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. We are killing all the right people. I didn't actually vote for war. I didn't vote for killing people. Who are the right people is my question. Who are the right people that we're killing? Because that's a little suspicious. We're killing all the right people. And helping Israel is helping yourself. He's known since he was 6 that he figured that out, that, being a friend of Israel was he figured that out at 6. Okay. I didn't. How does he know that at 6, that is what we're supposed to be doing? I don't know, you guys, I feel so much like an alien because I don't understand the power in Israel. I don't understand it. I don't understand why we have homelessness here. We have vets that are, veterans that have served our country that are in, struggling with all kinds of ailments, homelessness, addiction. Like we have a major cultural problem here. We're very divided. I don't understand why it is our chief priority to back Israel. Now, I'm not an idiot. I see the threat of Islam. Very much so. I spent Saturday listening to, an academic lecture on Islam. So I understand the threat. But I guess what I don't understand is why we are being squeezed and why it must be support Israel to the tune of, billions and billions, or you support Islam. Why is it either or? Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. This is Naturally Inspired Radio.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Naturally Inspired Radio is now streaming on 100+ video podcasts, social media platforms. Just search your favorite platform for Tammy Cuthbert Garcia or Naturally Inspired Radio, because we're everywhere you listen, watch, and connect. Help us grow our YouTube channel. Would you please? Please. Oh, goodness, you guys, it's such a struggle. With this show is such a struggle trying to connect to people and get the show out there. Every time we feel like we're taking one step forward, it gets kicked back 2 notches, just talking about things that I feel like every American is struggles with some of these issues, and they don't know what to think about it. And they don't want to be told what to think anymore. I'm telling you, since COVID, I need a moratorium on you telling me what to think. Everybody trying to tell you what to think. This. You're an idiot. Oh, you just don't understand it. You're on the wrong side. You don't get it. You're hurting. Just give me the facts, right? Just give me the facts. When I'm interested in something, I will go and I will learn and read about it and listen to people speak and try to process so I can understand, the complexity of both sides of the argument. And more often than not, I fall out somewhere in the middle, because that's just kind of how rational people think, I can see this, I can see that, unless you're getting paid from one side or the other, Because it's pretty hard to convince somebody of something that goes against them getting a paycheck, right? But I think most people fall somewhere in the middle, unless it's like radical craziness. We just kind of want to talk about it and figure out what makes sense. What's reasonable? What is reasonable? And wouldn't you know it, reasonable is highly censored. Highly censored. You can't be reasonable in this world. You need to be left, you need to be right, you need to be, pushing one narrative or the next, or you're out. And so it's very difficult, very difficult. So if you're on YouTube, we'd love it if you liked our posts, if you followed our channel, if you left a comment or whatever, or even share the show with somebody. And just say, hey, this lady talks about some stuff. Thought you might find it interesting, because that is the way we can have more authentic conversations. If we support independent media, then we'll be able to have more authentic conversations. And I'll tell you, I am very concerned about being able to have any type of authentic conversation in the sphere of media at all, because it's becoming more and more clear to me that these things are funded. Influences are funded. Different social media accounts are funded, and funded by people who are looking for a very specific outcome to shape your culture. Yours. Telling you don't have a right to your own culture. How dare you? How dare you embrace American culture? To the point where I think some people don't even know what American culture is anymore. They don't even know what it is. It's going to be up to the population to shape culture and either get back to some fundamentals or create new fundamentals. That's up to the masses, right? But we show that with how we act. And this whole thing, I'm very suspicious of it. This division, within the Republican Party, I'm very suspicious of it. I don't know about you, but I don't identify I don't look at the Republican Party and be like, that's my party. I look at somebody like Lindsey Graham and I think, gross. This is a man who has no children, had been made a career out of politics and made a lot of money from war, right? He presses war. He's a very specific agenda. And that speech there, we are killing all the right people. I mean, some people can say, well, that was just in poor taste. Maybe it was. Maybe it was just in poor taste. I don't know who he's talking about there. I don't know who he's talking about there. But, he made reference to, people like Tucker Carlson, podcasters, alternative media, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it's alternative at this point. But it's, yeah. And then right on the heels of a very high profile assassination like Charlie Kirk, I think saying it was in poor taste is being generous. Is being very generous. I mean, it's almost like some of these people, these warmongering people like Lindsey Graham, have become so bold. It's almost like they know nothing will ever be done about it. You get up on stage and you publicly declare that we're killing all the right people. We're out of bombs. Does that sit well with you? We're out of bombs. I don't know about you, but I'd like to not be out of bombs. I'd like to not have to use bombs, of course, but we're also living in reality. I get that. But we are killing all the right people. I'm telling you, that did not sit well with me. That did not sit well with me at all. And I've been willing to hear all the things. I don't know. I don't claim to know what happened with Charlie Kirk's death. I don't claim to know the things that are going on in the holy war of centuries going on now, centuries. I don't claim to know it all, but that did not sit well with me. I don't like that. I don't like that he said that. I don't like that he felt like he could say that. You're paying him, right? Well, we're supposed to be paying him. God knows where what we pay him is pittance to what he's collected. So you can take a few guesses about who's paying him. I don't like that. I don't like that we are supposed to be aligned with a foreign entity to the tune of gazillions of dollars, and we have so many troubles here at home. I don't like that. It's no beef with Israel or beef with the people of Israel. I love all the people there. It's not about that. I did not like that statement. And I don't like this either. This is Mark Levine, radio guy. Listen to this.
And I just want the anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-West crowd to understand something. You're going to have to come through me and millions of people just like me, and you're not going to make it. You think your stupid little podcast, or your stupid little subscription program, or your little TV show, or maybe you have a little radio show, is going to change the world like hell it is, not if I and everybody else have something to say.
So where's that anger coming from? You can feel his visceral anger there. If you think your little podcast, your little radio show is going to change the world, you're going to have to come through millions of people. What are you talking about, Mark? What are you talking about? Anti-Israel, anti-American, anti-West. So because we're concerned about our role in funding Israel, we're anti-West? I think people have some concerns, and it would seem like, they're not baseless. I think people want to know a little bit more about Mossad and how that's operating in America. And I think Americans want to know, what we're getting for this. And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking questions about it. Does it make you anti-American? It's so bizarre, right? It's so, okay, call me naive, call me stupid, call me whatever. But asking questions about this, if we were funding Mexico to this tune, if we were funding any other country to this tune, I think everybody would want to know what we were getting for that too. But for some reason, we're not allowed to ask questions about this. Now, at the same token here, I want to be very clear. I'm very concerned about Islam. So is that the deal? Is the deal that if we don't fund Israel, if we don't, agree with everything that Israel is doing, then we have to accept Islam into the West? Just help me understand, what's going on here, because I certainly don't want to live under Sharia law. I am anti-Sharia law, okay? I'm not quite getting it, though, where this anger is coming from anyone asking about money when it comes to funding Israel, when we got big problems here at home. Do you see how that could spark some suspicion? And the more they do this, the more suspicious people get. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. I'm so glad you're here. We'll be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations? much of it being imported or processed with additives. Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm truly trying to understand this issue. The thing is, I don't even want to. You know what I mean? This isn't my jam. You know, the Middle East is not my jam. Understanding Israel is not my jam. But it's going to be your jam because we're headed that way. And you can't do anything about it. So I highly suggest you start understanding this conflict because we're getting drug into it no matter what. And so, yeah, Saturday I spent my morning listening to a lecture about Islam. So I'm under no delusions. This is a very rigid religion. Some people even would say, Islam isn't even a religion. It's actually a form of government. It's a form of government because Sharia law, there's no separation. There's no separation between the religious doctrine and Sharia law. There's no separation. So it's actually not really a religion as much as it is a government. Okay? And these people come to conquer, and you can say and live in your delusion that they don't, but you'd be wrong. And I'm not sure you're willing to roll the dice on that. I think you better think twice before you roll the dice on it because you're kidding yourself. What happened in the UK over the weekend? Not a joke, right? Not even just over the weekend. I mean, this has been going on for months now. So much so. Now listen, I want to show you this. I happen to love Ricky Gervais. I think he's absolutely hilarious. I've enjoyed a couple of his series and we love him. We think he's hilarious. And plus his speech at the was it the Oscars or the Golden Globes? I think it was the Golden Globes. I mean, it will go down in history, right? Calling a spade, just telling it like it is. So you got to love Ricky Gervais. So I guess Ricky has a new line of vodka out. And so he's bought all these ads to put up in around London. And this one he put up. Take a look at this one. Welcome to London. Don't forget your stab vest. Now, it's funny, right? It's funny. Why is it funny? It's funny because we're living through a culture where this is true. Every good comedian builds their act off of grains of truth because it's the absurdity of life that is funny, right? It's the good comedy is always on the edge of truth and the absurdity of the truth. And Ricky Gervais is an expert in comedy and identifying that. It's precisely why his speech at the Golden Globes was so popular and will probably go down as the best speech ever given at an awards show. His monologue. Because it was on the cusp of truth and everybody knows it. The weirdest thing about this is how these things become so known and such a truth that when most people read that, they laugh. because they know it's true, but yet nothing's done about it. Isn't that bizarre? We have the same thing here in America, the Clinton kill list. Everybody makes jokes about Epstein, makes jokes about the Clintons, they make jokes about Obama and his chef. And, everybody laughs at those jokes because we kind of know they're true, but we can't do anything about it. And so there's this edge that makes it funny. And that's what Ricky Gervais is doing. So they took the ad down. They told him no, he had to take it down. That right there assures you that they want to take it down because it is true. Because you don't mind yourself too much about things that are absurd, right? I mean, if he had said, all elephants are pink, doesn't matter, right? Because there's no element of truth there. Everybody knows elephants aren't pink. It's cute, but we know it's not true. The reason why they took it down is because they know damn well it's true. And that is a reflection of the culture there. It's a direct reflection of the culture there. When a comedian puts up something like that, that's a reflection of our culture at the time. That would not be funny if that wasn't happening. And so we now know, it's funny because it's true, and they want to take it down because it's true. So we're getting the squeeze here because we don't liken our relationship with Israel. We're not really sure about everything that goes on there. We're a little concerned about Mossad. What's going on with this whole Candace Owens thing, Charlie Kirk thing, and all the texts and everything listen, every government has a gangster wing. Every corporation has a gangster wing of it. We make movies about this stuff. You're just telling me it's not true? Do we have private ops? Do we have black ops that happen? Of course we do. Of course we do. Do we have classified, operations that go down? Of course we do. We all know that this stuff exists. But for some reason, we're not allowed to acknowledge when something like this is going down. Right? Not allowed to acknowledge it. You're not allowed to acknowledge it because if you acknowledge it, then all of a sudden you're pro-Muslim? You're pro-Islam? No, definitely not. Definitely not. So we're getting the squeeze because most of us are like, well, that ain't good. Something's going on over there. I don't know what. Okay. But there's a lot to be said about it. We got a lot of rumors going around. Some don't feel right there. Right? And on the other side, well, we certainly don't want Sharia law, right? It's Islam is not conducive with the Western world. Lindsey Graham is weaponizing that. And he's telling you, well, if you're not for funding Israel, then you are anti-West. You are anti-American. So it's one way or the other here, people. But yet, what about us? What about America? What about our kids? What about our country? What about how society's going here? Because it's not going that well. People are chronically ill. We have drug addicts all over the streets. Our cities are disgusting. Many of our cities are absolutely disgusting. I was in New York not that long ago. Disgusting. Go to Denver. Not so pretty. We've got big problems here. And on the international stage, we're being, back and forth. It's this, it's that. I think we ought to be focusing on what's going on here. Because we certainly don't want what's going on in the UK coming here. And that is my concern. That is my concern, big time. Why are we Why are we ignoring that? We see that same thing happening here. We see the influx of immigration. We are seeing things happen in like Dearborn, Michigan, with the overstepping, if you will, of culture. I don't know what to say. But the Islamic call for prayer 5 times a day in an American city is an overstepping of American culture. And many other things. So what do we do? What is happening here? It feels like chaos is being sowed, and you're going to have to go to this side or to that side, or what? That's what it feels like. And I don't know. I think it's very toxic. And I think we are being told that we don't have the right to our own culture. We don't have the right to fix our own problems here, to make our country the priority. We're being, why? Somebody tell me why, okay? Tell me why. Just tell me why. Explain it. But nobody is. It's just this way, this way, this way. If you don't support funding Israel, then you're anti-Israel. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. If you're anti-American, you're anti-West. No, I'm not. But what the hell is going on here? What is all this? Right? What is all this? What is all this suspicious activity? Why was there a listening device planted in an ambulance by the White House, by Mossad, that nobody talks about? Why is Israel listening in on our government? Why? If we're allies, why? What's happening? There's no transparency. It's shut up, support this, or you're an enemy. You're on the other side. And I'll tell you right now, I just want to understand it. I just want to understand it because I'm not on that side. But I don't like people telling me what to think. And I think a lot of people are at this point. That's why Tucker is so popular right now. That's why Nick Fuentes is so popular, because all they're saying is, hey, we want to take care of America. And this doesn't make sense. What's going on here? But you're not allowed to ask questions. And if you're not allowed to ask questions, like, this is the worst possible tactic. I understand the threat of the Middle East. I understand the threat of Islam. I understand it. It's scary as hell, for sure, because they don't come to assimilate. They come to conquer. And it's not a joke. And if you look back into history and you understand what happened in Spain, I don't think people are ready for this. I think they're not able to even understand, because they've had it so good for so long. They cannot identify the threat. We're in a very strange time. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
We're back. Thank you so much for joining us today at Naturally Inspired Radio. We're so glad that you are here. Please follow us on Twitter, follow us on Rumble, follow us on BitChute, follow us on Odyssey, follow us on all the places that we're actually allowed. That helps us connect more people to real solutions for health. What we're trying to do here is do our little part in shaping culture. We want to change the healthcare model. No, I don't know anybody that is so pleased with the state of our healthcare model. And we're trying to, help people connect to real solutions for health so that they don't get drug into a system that is very predatory. Very, very predatory. I got some great stories for you today, more on our health system and how people are really taken advantage of in it. So I'm going to expose some stuff today. So you definitely want to stay tuned for the whole show. And into the second hour, also Gabe Doe is going to be joining us with Good Brew today. So that'll be fun. It's always a great conversation with Gabe. So we got a lot to get to. But right now, I want to take some time to go through our naturally inspired moment. And today I want to talk about when things get hard, when things get really hard. Sometimes you just feel like, you make a little advancement and then you get set back, and you make another little advancement and you get set back. And, it's all about keeping going. And in today's chaotic mixture, like every day it feels like we have a new threat, and it's hard to distinguish, is it real? And I think that's part of this, this movement towards the digital revolution, is to merge reality and virtual reality together so much that they're indistinguishable. I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and it's like, oh, well, I saw that online, but I knew somebody that went over there recently, and they said it was fine. You travel to a place, and your experience is everything around you looks fine. But you go online and it's like all hell's breaking loose over there. It's hard to know what is truth and, what is real and what is virtual. But here's the weird caveat to that, is that nowadays most people are living in the virtual. They're living in the virtual perception of everything because we spend so much time on the portal into the virtual that is becoming our reality. Whether what's going on in real time, like in tangible life, whatever's going on in there doesn't matter because our perception is shaped through the portal. And so if your perception's being shaped through the portal, it can be like disaster, 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 chaos, chaos, chaos. And then that becomes your reality, even though you walk outside and that isn't your reality. That isn't the reality. You're creating your own reality through this portal. And so it can feel like, man, there's no hope here. There's no hope. It's all chaos, chaos, chaos. How do you keep going when this is the experience? And there's another layer to it too, because it impacts the way people act in reality. When we're spending so much time in virtual reality, and especially if this is the way your neural entrainment has been formed, younger people, their neural entrainment has been, a big part of it has been the digital portal, the phone, right? Video games. It's different than, say, mine or maybe yours, because we grew up in real life, So our neural entrainment, it's different than people who have spent a lot of time through the digital world in virtual reality. And so we go out into reality and we're used to acting like, okay, this is reality. Like you do this, you do that. This is how you conduct yourself in real life. Yet we're interacting with people who know how to interact virtually. That's their top faculty, right? That's their number one skill. They are neurally entrained to interact with people through the digital sphere. Second, and maybe even third, is real life interaction. And so being raised, Gen X and even boomers, and these people were much more comfortable dealing in reality, where we're dealing with whole demographics now that it's the opposite. It's the opposite. So I tell you, when I go out in public now, I'm counting on it. I hate to say it, but I'm counting on there being some sort of problem. People aren't equipped to even do a lot of their jobs properly anymore because they're not used to dealing in reality. I know there are people listening to this that are going, yes, I see that. It's like you ask somebody for help in a store and they look at you like deer in headlights. They don't, I don't know. Did you look online? You know what I'm talking about? So it makes it hard to go out and function. You feel like an alien and you feel almost like you have to do everybody's job for them. It's like, can you call someone? Can you call maybe your department manager and see if they'd be able to do anything about this? Because this is my issue. You got to walk people through step by step because they're not used to dealing in reality. And so it can feel like everywhere you go, it can feel like, wow, this is a lot, and so you have to kind of change your strategy. And this is what has been helping me. I'm an observer, number one. So strategies to kind of keep going when things get hard, when you're out there dealing with the virtual people. How do you keep going? Be an observer. Really, instead of putting yourself in the moment, be an observer of the moment and just, observe things so you can get a different point of view. Also, number one, be an observer. Number two, shrink the battle. So when it feels overwhelming, we tend to look at the whole mountain instead of breaking it down step by step. So one thing you can do is just what's the next right thing to do here? And if that doesn't work out, okay, what's the next thing? All the while kind of being an observer, taking your own emotions kind of out of it, right? Number three is creating a ritual for strength, right? Controlling your lifestyle. So when you're out and about and you're, dealing with the chaos that's going on, you can't control how other people act and how other people interact with you. You have no control over that. So then control the things that you can, build a lifestyle that brings you peace. So keep the things like what you're putting in your body. You can control that. Food wise. So what you're eating every day. If you're taking, if you're moving your body, if you have a stress practice, right? How are you dealing and coping with high levels of stress? Do you have a ritual every day for managing stress, right? Controlling your environment, decluttering your environment. Making sure that you don't have added chaos in your, space where you function. Make sure you declutter. That's a big part of, making sure that you are setting yourself up for success. It is making sure that you're not cluttered. When everything feels chaotic online, outside, this is stuff that you can control. And remember that resistance means growth. So if nothing was pushing back, you wouldn't be leveling up. And you think, yeah, okay, well, I have no control over this chaos. This is crazy. I don't know where it's going. But you know what? The goal is to respond in a way to things that they don't set you off, right? That they don't trigger you into ruminating on negative thoughts and building more emotion within you. The goal is to get to a place where circumstances, you understand they're outside your control, but they don't rob you of your peace. So you deal with them as they come, right? What's the next right thing to do? What's the next right thing to do? And you don't let it rob your peace, right? Because this up and down of, stress mode, back down, calm mode, stress mode, but it's not helping your health. It's not helping and creating a lifestyle that brings you peace. So understand that that's the resistance in that is growth. So every time you handle something a little bit better, you don't feel your nervous system, going off the rails because this happened, the circumstances that you can't control, you're growing. Until you're going to get to the point where, you are at a point where it's just like, yeah, nothing is going to disturb your peace. That's the goal. And so every time, that resistance crops up, it's growth. What is this building in me? Borrow strength from faith. You don't have to do hard things alone. That's what I'm talking about when I say an observer, right? If you become an observer, then it just puts that buffer in between things where you're able to just observe and understand what's going on here. And then you have to just lean on your faith and understand that you're here for a reason. You're going through this for a reason right now. This is building you up. It's not tearing you down. And you focus on the next right step, the next right step, the next right step. And then pretty soon, that growth gets to a point where it's a turning point. And you don't even have to think about these practices anymore because they've become new neural pathways in your brain. New neural pathways on how to respond, how to hold on to your peace, how to not react to your circumstances. We cannot control our circumstances. We cannot control other people's perception of us. We cannot control so much, right? The only thing that we can control is how we respond to things. And a lot of the time, we suppress how we feel about things, which is even worse for our health. We just stuff it down because we don't know how to respond in a way where we feel heard and we feel respected, and we don't create more problems in the situation. Honesty is the best policy with that. If you're truly honest with people and you understand, you explain to them, this is causing me this issue, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with the truth. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back for the second hour. I've got a whole bunch of news stories for you. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.
Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome back. This is hour 2 of Naturally Inspired Radio. I want to thank all of our new community members. Thank you for joining us. This is what Laura had to say. I was tired of quick fixes that never lasted. Tammy helped me see what my body was really asking for. And with her plan, I regained my energy, improved my digestion, and finally feel in control of my health. That is what we do here at Naturally Inspired. We provide a community where you can get coaching on my health text line. You can get a weekly wellness workshop every Tuesday night, and you get a community that supports you on your optimum health journey. We have a special topic every week where we target things for you to learn about what it is to curate health in your body, because that is what you need to do. You need to build a lifestyle that supports health. It isn't about another pill. It isn't about another procedure. It isn't about another label, another diagnosis. Really, what you got to do is get to work listening. Get to work listening to the communication that your body is trying to give you. You know, that is it. Symptoms aren't things to be, band-aided, covered up. That's not what they're there for. Symptoms is your body's communication to you. And we've been taught in the allopathic model to just shut them up, pill them, cut it out, do whatever you got to do to shut it up. what your body's really trying to communicate to you is that we need to change something. We got to get to root cause. And so that's kind of what Naturally Inspired is all about, is helping people find root cause through the community. I don't give medical advice, but I do connect people to real solutions for health. And so if that sounds like something that you'd like to do or learn more about, then go to naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment, naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment, and book an assessment with me. We'll sit down, we'll have a little chat. More likely than not, because it happens every day, multiple times a day, I might be able to lead you to some information that makes you go, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Because that's what happens multiple times a day in these assessments. If that's what you're looking for, text me 720-303-8868 or go to naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment. All right, let's get to some news because Gabe Doe is going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. And I want to make sure you are in on all of the things that have been happening lately. I want to share with you a clip first off. This is Scott Adams. He is the artist from Dilbert. And maybe you know, if you're on X, you probably do. He's suffering from cancer. And I just thought this was so interesting following this. And yeah, watch this and then we'll chat. Here it is.
Came out that I was declining. President Trump called me home and blew my mind. But one of the things he offered was, he said that if you need anything, let me know. But of course, you have to be careful about, does he really mean that? Does he really mean if you need anything, let me know? He's running the whole country and some would say part of the world. That doesn't seem like something a president could possibly do. But when things aren't working out and you got to try all the doors, I sort of reached the end of one rope, which was I wasn't sure I was getting any health care at all. I might have been. I still don't know. But what I don't know is if they'd even started the process to get me that potentially life-saving drug that I've been trying to get. And so I wrote a message saying that on Sunday I wrote that I would be asking the president on Monday. Now that would be today. But as you know, President Trump likes to do things ahead of schedule and better than you expected and ahead of schedule. What is it? Below budget, ahead of schedule. And I don't know who he talked to first, but I feel like a lot of things went in motion at the same time. So I was contacted by Don Jr., who was literally in Africa. He's in Africa on a Sunday, and Don Jr. is calling me and saying, "Leah, I'm on this. My father wants me to, get this done."
I think this is wonderful for Scott Adams. I want to say that first. I think this is wonderful. But I also want to say this. If you need the president of the United States to intervene with your insurance company in order for you to get care, how is this okay for everybody? Do you have a straight shot to Trump, to Bobby Kennedy, So I guess what this upset me a little bit about was not that I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he could get the help. But see, I talk to people every single day that don't know where to go or what to do with their health. They got no hope. The system has bankrupted them. They can't pay anymore out of pocket to get treatment. Some of them are losing their houses. Some of them, they've taken this path, that path, because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They know that what the allopathic model is offering is probably a quick path to death. They know that. They know that's not what they know they don't want that. But they don't know what to do. And So are we at the point now in our country, I guess is what I'm trying to say, like, do you got to be an influencer to get your insurance company to buck up for you? Is that what we have to do now? You know, he couldn't get his insurance. He wasn't sure if he was getting care. Wasn't sure if he was getting health care. Yeah, so somebody like him, you know, probably fairly wealthy, I would say. Dilbert's pretty popular. Most people know the cartoon and whatnot, right? So is this, I'm just asking, like, is this what we have to do now to get healthcare in the country? Is this it? Because if it is, then, well, most of us are screwed, aren't we? I mean, I'm not allowed. People aren't really, you know, people who are trying to help people with lifestyle, you know, we're not allowed to advise people. We can't tell you what to do because it put us in jail. You can't give medical advice, and I do not give medical advice. So the only option we have is to take personal responsibility for our health and make our decisions as best we can. Do you know how hard that is to do when you're sick? It's pretty hard, right? Pretty hard to learn about cancer, study all the different programs and modalities that are out there, come up with the money to pay it so you can save your own life, you know, and all the while go through the treatment too and focus on healing. So, yeah. I mean, that's the truth of the matter, you guys. That is it. And then when you reach out for help to anybody, you know, anybody, like, I don't know, you know, there's a lot of popular doctors out there, right? There's a lot of popular influencer doctors, and, you know, they go on podcasts and they tell you to do this and they tell you to do that. And then they write a book and they tell you it's in the book or whatever. But do they give you their phone number? Do they have a text line for you? I don't think so. That's why I do. That's why I have a text line, because I'm not afraid to be in contact with you. I'm not afraid to walk alongside you through your pain. Because that's, I think, what true healers should be doing, right? That is truly caring for your fellow human, is to be accessible to them. But most of the people on YouTube or, you know, anywhere else, it's a very, you know, a very controlled access. Very controlled access, right? And that's the way the healthcare system is. You know, the allopathic is very controlled. Everybody gets belly up to the trough. Oh, you have this, you get that. You have this, you get that. Everybody's treated the same. Everybody goes through the assembly line. Yep. And the problem is that is not how the human body works. There are variables that need to be dealt with that aren't even acknowledged in the allopathic model. You know, poor Scott Adams, he came up with cancer after having taken the injections. The allopathic model doesn't even acknowledge that. You know, that's a new variable. That was a new variable that he brought into his life. And so when, as a detective, you know, what are all the things that could have contributed to this? Oh, it's just idiopathic. Is it? Is it? You know, when we do science experiments, we want to make sure we have all the controls. We know exactly what all the variables are, what impact they're having on that science experiment, how this but somehow in health, we don't know why. It's just idiopathic, right? Something doesn't add up. And I'll tell you, I get upset about this. I have to go into being an observer, because it's too upsetting. It's great that Scott Adams is getting help with his cancer, okay? But Scott Adams is one person. And there are people on my health text line, hundreds, every day. who feel lost, who feel abandoned, who are, the mother of a child who is sick, who is the father of a child who's sick, who is a husband of a wife that is sick. This system is beyond broken. Let me tell you. I don't even have a word for it. It's beyond broken. How do we repair it? We have to take personal responsibility for our bodies. We have to understand how to curate health in our body. It has to start with us. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
I got so much to cover before Gabe Doe from Good Brew joins us at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to get right into it. The Pediatrics Perspectives Journal has a article out about unintended consequences of invoking the, quote, natural, it's in quotations, natural in breastfeeding promotion. This article is concerned that promoting breastfeeding as natural may be ethically problematic and even more troubling. It may bolster this belief that natural approaches are presumptively healthier. This may ultimately challenge public health's aims in other contexts, particularly childhood vaccinations. I found this article interesting because I'm always telling you, listen, the cult is a death cult. Okay? They're a death cult and they can't create, they corrupt. They hijack and they corrupt. And so what do I mean by that? They take what occurs naturally and they corrupt it, they synthesize it, and they sell it back to you. That's pharmaceuticals in a nutshell. Okay? And so even the word natural is a problem. Oh gosh, it's in the title of my show. That's probably one of the reasons why we experience, there's a whole list of words that you're not allowed to say, and I don't play by them. And so naughty me, I don't play by the word game. And so that gets me in a lot of trouble. But I just don't feel right, speaking in a weird language, saying things like, oh, unalived, or quaxine, make it up all. What are we doing here? Are we two? Or are we free adults? Because you guys said we were free here. You guys said we had the power of free speech. That's what you said. That's what you continued to drill into our heads forever. We were the freest country in the world, right? That's what you said. But now we're walking around, everybody's walking around on eggshells and saying things like quaxine and unalived. You raised us with a language and you told us we were free. And then, oh, that's over now. Shut up. Or what? Pay the social consequences? You don't have the freedom to build your business now in the free United States of America? Because that's how I feel. I don't have, it's not an even playing field here. Because I use words like natural or vaccine. Can't use those words. Thought this was a free country, everybody. Thought it was supposed to be free. Now they're concerned that the word natural makes people think that it's better. Maybe because it is. Maybe because there's a code, a biological code that you were born into. It's called life. It's called life. It was invented by God. And you can't trick it. You can't medicate it. You can't, synthesize something and put it in it. You don't put poison in it to heal it. Just poison it a little bit and then it'll get well. It doesn't work, and you know it. That's why you're all drawn to natural. You go to the doctor now and you say, isn't there something a little bit more natural I could do? Why do you think you're drawn to that? Why do you think? Do you think that could be some kind of internal trait that you have that makes you seek out the things that your body wants and needs? No, that's not it. Natural's dangerous, everybody. Natural's dangerous. We shouldn't even say it. And breastfeeding isn't natural. We can't call it natural because that implies that it's better than formula. So they're trying to obscure your thinking because your intuition tells you, I would think, if God made me able to produce milk to nurture my child, then that's probably the way I should do it. No, because guess what? You can't patent it. They can't sell it to you. Like, it's so maddening. Like, ugh. And everybody's just like, yeah, technology, progressive. Progressive. Yeah, I mean, technology, we're so smart now. You don't need to do that. That's the old way. You're just being silly. Like, you don't need that. You don't need that. Go to work, Mom. Go to work. Get away from your baby. They don't need that. Children are resilient. Yeah, we're saying, like, this is the world we're living in. It's insane. It's actually insane. And anybody with two brain cells to rub together can look at all this stuff and go, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But we're supposed to just act like, no, it's not crazy at all. This is normal life. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, everybody. Everything's fine. I want to play this clip, and I know, darn it, we're running low on time already. But I want to play this clip because I want to just introduce this topic, and maybe we'll dive deeper into it tomorrow because it's a very interesting topic about eugenics. And I've done a little research on eugenics, and I think it's a very important piece of what's going on today. So let's play the clip first, and then we'll chat about it.
Open the door to killing. You don't get to close or decide what walks through.
But Kelsey, what would be the incentive? What is the motive?
Ready? I got one for you.
Yeah, because you got to have a motive.
Money.
Let me show you how. It? Someone dies, it's over. Chronicity is big business.
No. This is where you're wrong here, darling. End of life is money time. Okay? So, Canada, a new journal on the Sage Journal on the Omega website. You can go find it on Sage. The medical journals that are peer-reviewed papers from universities, which I can show it to you. It's called the Journal of Death and Dying. It came out this year. Okay. And they did an estimate of what Canada looks to save once they turn the mental illness into the MAID protocol. So from 2027 to 2047, which is a 20-year period. That is when mental illness, meaning anybody can qualify. You don't have to be dying anymore, sweetheart. You can just have a hard time. And once you're in the system, you're in it.
So it doesn't cost them money to treat you through the government, so they save money.
You ready to find out how much? 2027 to 2047, they're expected to use MAID on roughly, this is the journal's, they've done the math, this is the journal's estimate, 14.7 million Canadians. Okay? Mm-hmm. They're going to save to a tune of $1.273 trillion instead of providing palliative care. Because what happens when you...
I have to say, Jillian Michaels, like, I get she's being red pilled in real time here, but she doesn't quite get it. Eugenics is real. I've been saying this since the whole thing rolled out with MAID, that's medical assistance in dying in Canada. It's eugenics, everybody. It's eugenics. And if you study eugenics and you look into it, it is the belief and practice of trying to improve human population by controlling reproduction, deciding who should and should not have children based on certain traits. Not only that, but it includes, it's all encompassing. See, when they roll it out, at first they tell you, well, this is just compassion care. That's what this is. This is compassion care. It's for people who are terminally ill. Okay, but Canada has healthcare. Healthcare. I put that in quotations. They have healthcare, right? Socialized medicine, and it's very expensive. And so it's overused. You wait a year or 2 years sometimes to get an MRI, depending on the urgency of how they think that you should be prioritized. So the government's in full control of all the care. And so what they've done is they started out this is compassion care, and this just they just keep widening it, right? So now, if you have any kind of mental health issues, you can apply for MAID, medical assistance in dying. And not only that, but there has been, younger and younger, the age group is being brought into the funnel. And even people who have financial problems that are suffering, like they can't pay their bills, maybe they have depression, any kind of mental health. This is all getting, the scope is getting wider and wider, okay? This is exactly how eugenics started. And I don't want to invoke the H word here. God forbid you say the H word. Doesn't even mean anything anymore. But that's what Hitler did. And so there's the evil. I just want to say, evil doesn't walk into a room and announce itself. I know it's hard for a lot of people to understand that, especially Jillian Michaels said, why? Why would they do this? Why would they do this? Nobody walks in and says, I'm an evil SOB and I'm going to do this, No, there's always strategy behind it and goals, just like the climate cult, right? There's a strategy behind climate change. It just so happens that climate change, the whole campaign of climate change is anti-human, right? We have all these solutions, including curing death. Unless, of course, you want to apply for MAID because you're mentally ill. This is a death cult. This is a death cult. And this is big money. And if they don't have to pay for your palliative care in a socialized medicine model, then all the better, right? We don't have to waste money on your dying ass. We don't have to waste money on you. You can just pull the plug yourself faster, right? Much easier. You don't have to go into hospice. They don't have to find a room for you. Well, I'll tell you, it's hard to get into hospice in Canada. It's very hard. I waited days for my mother to be able to get into hospice. And she was dying, She didn't even have a hospital room at first. She was in a hallway behind a curtain. And then she had to share a room with somebody who was not well. And then finally, we got moved to hospice. So it's not a system that you want to bring here to America. Let me tell you. It ain't pretty. And what a great solution, though. Let's just let people kill themselves, right? Because not only that, but you're thinning the population and you're getting rid of the vulnerable, right? Getting rid of the vulnerable. The Journal of Death and Dying, medical assistance in dying. That's Canada. That's eugenics. You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. Gabe Doe with Good Brews coming up. We're going to learn a little bit about your gut health, so you're going to want to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know that 70% of your immune system is in your gut? Good Brew is the perfect addition to your daily routine for optimal gut health. Good Brew provides the perfect balance of prebiotic soluble fiber and probiotics, essential for promoting good gut health. It is so easy to use. Call 307-381-1099. That's 307-381-1099. Use Naturally Inspired and get our special offer. Visit goodbrew.com. That's goodbru.com.
Welcome back. You've been listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I know we've been talking about some crazy things, some things that are like, holy cow, pretty intense topics here today. But we're going to lighten it up now. We're going to talk, well, it's still a very serious and important topic, but we are going to lighten it up a little bit. We're going to dive into your gut health. Gabe from Good Brew is going to be joining me here in just a few seconds. I want to tell you a little bit about them. Gabe and his partner, Steve, business partner, Steve, started Good Brew together because they saw a need in the marketplace. You know, they saw that people, well, gut health, first of all, was a growing need. And we were finding more and more out about the power of your gut and how important it is to make sure that your gut microbiome is active and healthy, and it links to so many different diseases in the body, including, you know, things like dementia and Alzheimer's and inflammation. Of course, inflammation is root cause. So they found out all this stuff about how important gut health was. So they decided to put together a product, a solution to help people with their gut microbiome. And they did it in a very unique way. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about the importance of gut health. I want to welcome Gabe Doe to the Naturally Inspired Radio Show. Gabe, how's it going?
It's going good, Tammy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just the craziness in the world got me all fired up today.
Yeah, you know, I saw on your headlines, I didn't read it, but when you mentioned that Scott Adams had reached out to the Trump administration to help him with his cancer. I don't know. Did you see though that William Mackis, your friend William Mackis, that you had at the Nationally Inspired Summit, posted a video in response to that? Did you see that?
I did not.
You definitely need to check that out, and also your listeners should really go check that out because if they don't know, you had William Mackis at your summit this past summer, which was a real big deal to have him come down. But he gets into this video. Scott Adams had reached out to William Mackis a while back to ask for help with his prostate cancer, and and he only gave William Mackis a month, and then he dismissed William Mackis and really cut him down. Didn't just say this isn't for me. He actually kind of went after Mackis only after a month. Now Scott Adams, cancer has progressed to this, extreme, terminal issue. And Mackis actually posted a video today, saying that I didn't know this. Mackis himself was actually a pioneer of that therapy that is now being recommended to Scott Adams. Well, yeah, on the one hand, the radiation therapy, and then this other guy, this billionaire doctor's other half of the protocol that he's recommending is it's kind of like stem cell, but I don't think it's called stem cell, but they're reusing the blood. And Mackis describes in that video, why the one half of the therapy, the cancer's too far progressed for that by itself to be of any use. And he also describes why, because of the COVID vaccines, that the other half of the therapy is not going to be effective, and combined they're not going to be effective. But he does go on in talking about how if you using the ivermectin and the other one, combined with that previous radiation therapy that William Mackis was a pioneer of, that might have that might be successful. And he's trying to get people to reach out and trying to get this message back to Scott Adams and back to RFK to try and tell him, that this might be the path that would work. But anyhow, I thought it was really interesting, and I saw that you had actually made a post about that. So I didn't know if you had seen that video, but you'll go check it out. It's on X. So
Yeah, no, I didn't see the video. I must have missed that. But here's the thing I would add too is that I noticed something because I've been following Scott's story the whole time, and I would say that there's a great deal of emotion behind Scott right now because of he has a lot of anger about the vaccine and about taking the vaccine and being he feels almost like tricked. And then there was a point where he was quite angry with people who didn't take the vaccine. He expressed that, how people that didn't take the vaccine were, he was quite angry with them. So it's multifaceted. Health is multifaceted. And the thing is that you can't get to healing, to a space of healing. You can't force the body to heal. You can only create the conditions for it to heal. And part of that, it doesn't surprise me that he would have dismissed Macus after 30 days because I'm not sure he understands that part of it. And that's maybe a harsh judgment, but it's pretty obvious, I think, if you view his content and what he's been talking about, over the last few years after the injection. So I would say, I pray for him, and I hope that William is able to help him, because I don't think there's anybody more qualified in that area with those modalities to be making suggestions and giving advice in that and with those modalities. But I would say, there needs to be some kind of therapeutic approach for his emotions and to let those emotions go as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And Mac has had a really good scientific explanation as to why those work together. It wasn't just, guesswork. And in addition, I was speaking to a Good Brew customer a couple of days ago. And she had her mother was using the Macus approach and had really put her cancer into remission also. She had actually gone to a doctor in Texas that had recommended that approach. And then they live in Massachusetts, and the doctor in Texas was like, that's going to be the toughest place in the world for you to find somebody that's going to help you to continue with this protocol. And she said it really, really was. But yeah, and there's so many things going on here, and the immune system and the relationship to the gut, it's all connected. And there's a huge relationship between the gut and cancerous cells and cellular metabolism, and the way that we produce certain metabolites that support good cellular health, which then helps to our immune system to function best and to do its job in helping to control all kinds of aspects of health, including cancer, and that's been totally and throughout the body. But certainly things like stomach cancer and colon cancer and those things are very, very directly related to specific metabolites produced by the gut microbiome.
Yeah. So immune system is big, right? Because we're all exposed to cancer cells. We're all exposed to these things, but it's whether or not our immune system is able to handle this, right?
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about how Good Brew supports the immune system.
Right. Well, there's many, many aspects of that. In fact, I'm reading a really good book, which you may have read. It's sold many copies. It's called Gut. By Julia Enderman. She's a German, and she spells like Guilia or something like that. And it's a great book. But one of the points, there's lots of great points in that book, and I recommend anybody to read this book, Gut. But that's the title of the book, Gut. But she's a doctor and writes in a very great style. One of the things I think this is very interesting here. So in our embryonic state, there's 3 tubes that start to form. One of them starts to form the nervous system. One of them starts to form the cardiovascular system. And the other one starts to form the digestive system. And that's really, I think, a huge insight, just a fundamental to think about how those are the 3 elements of our body that start to develop as an embryo. But what's even really more interesting is that from the digestive tract or the digestive system, most of our internal organs are just part of the digestive system in terms of that growth aspect. So our lungs, our liver, our kidneys, the gallbladder, all of that's all coming originally from the development of the digestive system. And you want to take that a step further and think about the lungs. The lungs are actually digesting gas. So
Yes.
we're not, and we think about the lungs in terms of their big role, and that's pulling oxygen to get into the blood system. But they also play a major role in the immune function. But they also, and this is getting more studied, they actually also pull nutrients, just like they get toxins from the atmosphere, which we have to be careful about. They also get nutrients from the atmosphere. So like they see kids in like, in coastal areas or whatnot, when they tested for like they have higher iodine levels, which is in a healthy way.
And higher magnesium too.
Higher magnesium, things like that. But all of that has a microbiome aspect to it. And the microbiome is playing a major role. In fact, in many cases, is playing the sole role. The body doesn't even do some of these functions of the microbiome that's in our digestive system, which we're mostly here talking about the digestive system as we think about it, from the mouth to the rectum, basically. But the lungs and all that are also part of it as well. So it's
fascinating because the lungs help you exhale fat. And a lot of people don't know that the lungs are a part of your weight loss as well. So when your body burns fat, it breaks it down into triglycerides, right? Fat molecules. Yep. And then the CO2 travels into your bloodstream, goes to your lungs, and you literally breathe out fat. Mm-hmm. And so but you never think about your lungs being part of your digestive system.
You ask people, how does weight loss work? Most people don't
have any clue.
That. It comes from, it's respiration. And especially, when you work out really hard, or do a lot of physical activity, and you're sleeping at night, your body's healing and rebuilding, and it's going through that metabolic state. And you're literally breathing out these metabolites that are how you lose fat.
Yeah, so interesting. I was talking to somebody this morning about this concept that the fitter you are as well, the fitter you are, the less calories you burn, because your body's so awesome at once it gets efficient at something, it just gets better and better. And so that can be discouraging, because when you start out on a journey for health, in the beginning, you might be not that fit. And so as you get fit, as you start to increase, your body you start losing all this weight, but then you plateau, right?
Yep.
But it's actually an awesome thing when you think about it, because that's how cool your body is. It's like, oh, we're getting healthy now. All right, well, we're going to do this fast. Like we get more efficient.
And your microbiome is playing a huge role in that. So as our food, our nutrition moves through the gut and down into the lower intestine, a huge amount of the final metabolism of that food nutrient is done by the microbiome. And so, like, actually in the small intestine, there's many components of the small intestine that don't exist in the large intestine. Also, the large intestine is much shorter. It's because the job of metabolizing our food and our nutrient there's a microbiome in the small intestine, and it's all working together. But as it moves into the lower intestine, the job is passed off to the microbiome to get many of the B vitamins that help our muscular, our skeletal, nervous system, our muscular system function properly, help us to have a healthy brain and mood and fighting depression and all those things, these short chain fatty acids and many other, calcium. The fact that the main place where calcium is absorbed properly is in the large intestine. And that's largely because of the microbiome. So all of these things then play a role in our immune function, allow our cells to function properly, allows us to fight off disease, etc. So
let's take a quick break. Everybody visit goodbrew.com. That's goodbru.com. Use promo code Tammy. Get yourself some Good Brew. We'll talk more about it when we come back. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Naturally Inspired Radio.
Did you know that 70% of your immune system is in your gut? Good Brew is the perfect addition to your daily routine for optimal gut health. Good Brew provides the perfect balance of prebiotic soluble fiber and probiotics, essential for promoting good gut health. It is so easy to use. Call 307-381-1099. That's 307-381-1099. Use Naturally Inspired and get our special offer. Visit goodbrew.com. That's goodbru.com.
I'm having a great conversation with Gabe Doe from Good Brew. Goodbrew.com. That's goodbru.com. Head on over there. Get yourself. It is all about prevention, everybody. And gut health is a pillar of your health. We're talking about that. Gabe, welcome back to Naturally Inspired Radio. Thanks so much for being here. We were just getting into kind of this cool conversation about the importance of your gut health, not just like I think you are one of my guests that really understands the synergy of health, like the synergy of the body and how important it is. And it kind of all starts with the gut, doesn't it?
Absolutely. 70% of the immune system is in the gut, and it starts in the gut. But then that's just in thinking of it and really from this like a superficial level. But when you get down to it, it's also this whole reciprocal thing. So like this, most of the the energy source that our cells, especially in the digestive system, use as a healthy fuel source is produced by the gut microbiome, things like butyrate and these sorts of things. When the gut microbiome is in dysbiosis, we're not producing those short chain fatty acids and other metabolites that our gut cells need to function properly. But then these also travel and circulate through the body, supporting good cellular health throughout the body. And so when the cells start to dysfunction, everything else starts to collapse, right? And the same thing with protein utilization. So, Good Brew has been, the probiotic in Good Brew has been specifically shown to really increase protein utilization. And that last bit of really breaking down proteins is really happening in the large intestine. But it's also, so you're getting that direct protein breakdown and from in a very direct way happening in the lower intestine. But what you got to think about even further is another step is that if the cells aren't healthy, you're not going to absorb these nutrients, whether they're in your small intestine, your lower intestine, or wherever they're at. So it's more than just this direct line of like, this does this and this is what you're looking for. It's all working together. And medicine in modern medicine has really, I think, taken our eye off the ball in that regard. Because we got a headache, take a Motrin or whatever, you know what I mean? Or if you got, this, that, and if you're sick with this, go to the doctor and they'll give you a shot of this. And we think very simple, and it's very simplistic way of thinking about health in our bodies, when we really know that the biggest things that we've been taught, that support long-term health is exercise and sleep and the foods that we eat. But the gut microbiome is right there with all of those. An unhealthy microbiome is just as damaging to our body as not getting enough exercise or eating poorly. And in fact, if we eat a certain way, even if we think we're eating healthy, if our gut microbiome isn't functioning properly, if we have dysbiosis, we're not going to get the benefits of that of the foods that we're eating or the nutrients, at least not maximizing it. Now keep in mind, if you eat a better diet, you're going to have a better microbiome. But once things really get off or get out of whack, and that could be because of all the antibiotics or preservatives or things in our environment, whatever, it's very hard to get it back into balance. And so doing things that help to get the gut back in balance is going to also help you to maximize the nutrition that you're getting, which is also going to affect your immune function. And one of the things I think we could go on and on in all these different directions. That's why we need like 2 hours. But one way to think about this, and because I'm not a doctor, and so I think about things kind of like a researcher and an entrepreneur, and I think how can we simplify this idea? And one of the immune system is very multi-layered. It's just think about like your skin as being first line defense, and then you get all the way down to some like amyloid plaques, which basically part of the immune system. We don't want to get down to those last lines of defense. We want to keep the top line of defense working, because that's the easiest thing for us to actually do something about. Doing something like maintaining good gut health or exercising or eating well. These are things that we have the most control of. When it gets down to, amyloid plaques in the brain, that's too far. We don't want to get, we're in trouble. We don't want to get there. Right. And so then the medicine, we're trying to actually target that specifically, or we're trying to target the cancer specifically. Well, we want to try to do things that never will get us to the point of having the cancer or never having the amyloid plaques. And so you think about your immune system as being multi-layered, not just like, oh, my immune system is functioning. It's many, your body just wants to stay alive. And
right.
so it's trying to give you all these options to stay alive and,
That's
and,
right.
you know, try to keep the top ones up. So that was one of the things with amyloid plaques, you know, is we've talked about this a little bit with the brain, but basically what they see with amyloid plaques is like basically they bind up pathogens or foreign things. So it could be viruses or bacteria or toxins. And so, you know, when you talk about Alzheimer's and amyloid being like a symptom of Alzheimer's, so it's saying to target, really the plaque is there as a result of some you know, interference. And one of some of the biggest ones now are related to the gut. Now it could be other things. And so Alzheimer's, the initial cause of it could be different things. Yeah, metabolism from sugar and that sort of thing. But basically, you know, we know they not only that the toxins are from these bacteria are making their way through the body as they move from the mouth into the lower intestine, but they're finding the actual microbes in the brain. So in some of these.
Wow.
And,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So the actual microbes that are found in the mouth are eventually being found in the brain of people with you know, have died from Alzheimer's and autopsy. So the plaques are a response to that. Same thing in your mouth. You know, the plaques in your mouth are a response to the bacteria. And so we know that Bacillus coagulans is one thing that really helps along with a good fiber, which so Good Brew is basically a fiber and a probiotic combined, a symbiotic, and they work very well synergistically. And we know they do things to help support the gut overall and are colonizing bacteria. But we also know now there's studies that show that specifically better oral health with Bacillus coagulans and that sort of thing. So going all the way back.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
so you're not just, I mean, so could Good Brew help with your oral health?
It definitely, I believe so. I believe it's helped mine. Yes. But yes, there are studies that have been shown with Bacillus coagulans I've done a couple of them I think maybe both of them were done with children or whatever, but yeah, only in like 8 weeks they were showing reduction in and like gingivalis and some of the other ones that are in the mouth. Yeah, it's just displacing the mouth. You know, we have lots of people with you know, acid reflux and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Finding benefits. People with
we have many people in the naturally inspired community. I mean, all the assessments I do. I'm on the Good Brew. I'm on the Good Brew. It's like,
and the one thing with Good Brew is you're able to because it's by the scoop. You take what works for you. We have lots of people that just use one scoop. We always tell people to start with just one scoop or less than one scoop. Let's see if you need to have time for adjustment. Yeah. It's a lot of people just go with one scoop and that's what they use. But we have so many people that reorder the product and that's why I haven't been on the show for a little while because we're just out of inventory trying to wait for this next production run and that sort of thing. So we have lots of reorders, lots of happy customers. We have lots of customers who don't want to go without it.
Yes, that's what I hear.
But we also get the fiber, you know, and that's one of the things when you're taking a capsule or whatnot, you really can't get enough fiber, soluble fiber out of the capsule to really add that to make a significant dent in your diet. So by using it by the scoop, you can adjust it how you like it. You can make it very easy to use because you can put it right in your coffee because Bacillus coagulans is a spore-forming probiotic that survives in the heat of the coffee and it's through the stomach acid and germinates in the lower intestine, where it really helps to support the other microbiome as well as helping with nutrient absorption and that sort of thing. But also by using it by the scoop, you're also able to get a significant amount of soluble fiber. And we use organic soluble fiber, and it's the type of fiber that our microbiome loves to feed on and feeds on in nature. I urge you to comment about nature.
Oh my gosh. They're constantly trying to keep us away from what occurs naturally, Gabe, I tell you.
It's not a synthetic patented fiber. So.
No. Tell me a little bit about how Good Brew functions as a prebiotic and a probiotic.
Yeah, so the fiber is your prebiotic. That's what the gut microbiome feeds on to fuel itself. And that's also how the short chain fatty acids and other things are produced as metabolites is from the prebiotics. And that's not just the Bacillus coagulans that are using the prebiotic, but it's the other bacteria in your stomach that's using the fiber as a prebiotic. So that's the fuel for the bacteria. But the Bacillus coagulans is a probiotic. And together, and all the research shows that using a prebiotic and a probiotic together is far more effective than using just one or the other alone. But one of the good things about using our prebiotic fiber with Bacillus coagulans probiotic together is that you're now giving something that we know we want to help the gut, the probiotic Bacillus coagulans, something to feed on, and that rather than, when you take a fiber, you could be feeding any kind of bacteria in your gut. And so the Bacillus coagulans, being a transitory spore forming probiotic, it starts to feed on that prebiotic fiber. So that's the term symbiotic. And then those together are starting to produce the kinds of metabolites that your other colonizing bacteria that we mostly get from our mothers at birth and during nursing want to live in. And so if you're in dysbiosis or, just have, on the border or whatever, you're starting to shift the stomach into homeostasis through that combination. And now you're going to start to feed the other colonizing bacteria that we want, the good ones, because they live in an environment that is produced by the combination of the Bacillus coagulans and the soluble fiber together.
That makes
sense.
sense.
Now you're starting to boost the whole army, and you're getting everything fighting on the right side. So it's very hard. Yeah.
Can you share a story with us about a recent one? Because we haven't talked for a while. So a recent testimony where someone has started the Good Brew. I have one, but I want you to go first.
I get lots of them. I have different people call me. It's a recent one. You got me on the spot here, but I asked. Well, we had one with a lady up in Idaho. So her children, adult children, were using Good Brew. They took it with them for summer vacation. Their mother had all sorts of severe digestive health issues, including acid reflux. She's older, and started using Good Brew. And they said within just like a week or two, she had called them and just telling them how much it had helped her with her acid reflux and this sort of and other digestive health issues. And so now she's a regular customer. And they were telling me how happy they were and how thankful they were, and they themselves have had really good success also with the Good Brew. One of them with acid reflux as well. And it's not an acid reflux product. I mean, I just have that testimonial. That would be two people related that had problems with acid reflux that this has helped them with.
I have several people in our community that's helped them with acid reflux, but also constipation. So I had a lady who has dealt with constipation for years. I mean, 4 years, and not been able to, she's taken all the stuff off of the shelf, and, sometimes it works, but it ends up doing this kind of cycle where she gets diarrhea and then constipation, diarrhea, and then constipation, but not with the Good Brew. With the Good Brew, she started slow. She was just taking a little, like half a scoop, because I was a little concerned. I'm like, because she's so, affected by this stuff. So I said, just start with half. And now she's built up to 2 scoops, and she's going every day, Gabe.
That's
every
awesome.
day.
Yeah, we have another story about a lady from Greensboro, North Carolina, called me. I don't know. She didn't tell me specifically what her issue was, but she called me and just wanted to let me know how much it had helped her. She said I think she said 7 years she had not found a solution to her problem, and she had Good Brew, and she actually she loved it so much that she was like, she wanted me to try to find a way to help her sell it to other people. I mean, I was like, well, we can do something, and she was like, send me coupons or something, just because she was telling everybody about the product.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And that's what happens when something really works for you. You want to sing it from the rooftops and say, hey, everybody, like this works. And isn't it amazing, everybody? Isn't it amazing that this is natural? Right? This is natural fiber. This is a natural way to restore your gut microbiome. Everybody visit Good Brew. It's goodbrew.com/Tammy. You'll get a little extra special discount with that. Gabe, thank you so much for being on today. Any last words?
No, just look forward to being back on in a couple of weeks, and have a great day.
Thanks. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Naturally Inspired Radio, 3:00. See you then.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, Explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. NaturallyInspiredRadio.com.